For years, spotting a fake email was almost embarrassingly easy once you knew what to look for. The strange grammar, the misspelled company name, the greeting that said, "Dear valued customer," instead of your actual name. The logo that looked just slightly off, like a photocopy of a photocopy. An entire generation of advice, check the spelling, look for awkward phrasing, watch for generic greetings, was built around these small, reliable tells. That advice is no longer reliable. Not because it was wrong, but because the thing it was designed to catch has quietly, almost completely, disappeared. According to cybersecurity researchers, artificial intelligence now generates more than 80% of all phishing emails currently in circulation, polished, grammatically flawless, personally addressed, often indistinguishable at a glance from something your actual bank would send. The clumsy, fake email, the one your instincts were trained on for 20 years, has largely been replaced by something built specifically to defeat those instincts. And the numbers reflect it. Phishing and spoofing were the single most commonly reported category of fraud among adults 60 and older in 2025, with more than 48,000 seniors filing reports, nearly a quarter of every fraud complaint submitted by someone in that age group, more than any other single scam type. If the old advice, check the spelling, no longer works, what does? Today we're going to walk through exactly what still reliably separates a real email from a fake one, even when every old warning sign has been engineered away, using signals that live outside the writing itself entirely. To understand why the old advice stopped working, it helps to understand what actually changed, and just as importantly, what didn't. For most of phishing's history, creating a convincing fake email required either genuine skill or enough time and care that most scammers simply didn't bother. The result was a flood of low-effort attempts, the awkward phrasing, the mismatched formatting, because polish wasn't worth the labor cost when volume mattered. Generative AI removed that labor cost almost entirely. A scammer can now instruct an AI system to write a flawless, personalized email in seconds. It can match the tone and format of any real company at essentially no cost, and do it thousands of times over with slight variations. Think of it like the difference between a forged signature done by hand, showing a shaky line, and a signature reproduced by a machine. The telltale imperfections that used to give away a fake simply aren't there anymore, because the process that used to create them has been replaced. Here's the crucial insight. Everything the old advice caught was never actually the scam itself. It was only a side effect of scammer effort. The email's actual purpose, getting you to click a link or share financial information, was always the real target, regardless of how it looked. AI has simply removed the accidental warning signs while leaving the underlying goal completely unchanged. This distinction matters. It means advice built around "does this look professional" was always measuring the wrong thing. It just happened to correlate for many years with whether an email was fraudulent, because producing a polished fake used to require real effort. Now that AI has decoupled effort from polish, any defense strategy still built around evaluating writing quality is no longer measuring anything useful. The scale and sophistication of this shift is extensively documented by both cybersecurity researchers and federal fraud tracking agencies. According to KnowBe4's Phishing Threat Trend Report, cited in multiple 2026 financial and consumer protection publications, artificial intelligence now generates approximately 82.6% of phishing emails currently in circulation, meaning the overwhelming majority of phishing attempts a person is likely to encounter today have already been polished by AI to eliminate the grammatical and formatting errors that once served as reliable warning signs. The FBI's Internet Crime Complaint Center 2025 annual report confirms just how central this scam type has become, specifically for older Americans. Phishing and spoofing scams were the most commonly reported fraud category among adults 60 and older in 2025, with more than 48,000 individual reports filed, representing close to a quarter of all fraud complaints submitted by seniors that year. Separately, a joint research experiment conducted by Harvard University and Reuters specifically demonstrated how scammers are now using AI chatbot tools to generate highly convincing personalized phishing emails targeting older adults, showing that these messages could be tailored with personal detail. These AI-generated messages have enough contextual accuracy to bypass many of the informal detection strategies people had previously relied on. Broader IC3 data adds important context. The Bureau received more than 22,000 complaints in 2025, specifically citing AI as a tool used in the fraud, with associated losses exceeding $893 million, a figure researchers describe as almost certainly an undercount. AI involvement often isn't detectable or reported by the victim at all. Industry researchers have also documented a related trend worth understanding. AI-related fraud complaints of all kinds increased 456% between mid-2024 and mid-2025 alone, according to financial protection organizations tracking this category specifically. This isn't simply a matter of more phishing emails being sent. It reflects a fundamental shift in the tools available to even relatively unsophisticated scammers who previously needed genuine writing skill. The barrier to entry for producing a highly convincing phishing email has, in practical terms, nearly disappeared. A few important clarifications before we move to what actually still works. This does not mean every well-written, professional-looking email is fraudulent. The overwhelming majority of polished, error-free emails you receive are exactly what they appear to be. Real communications from real companies, banks and institutions that have always employed professional writers and designers. The goal here isn't to distrust good writing, it's to stop using writing quality as your primary evidence of legitimacy, since it no longer reliably distinguishes real from fake. This also doesn't mean you're technologically behind if the old advice no longer feels sufficient. This shift happened extraordinarily quickly, within just the past 2 to 3 years, and cybersecurity professionals themselves have had to substantially update their own training and detection methods in response. Feeling like the rules changed without warning isn't a personal failing. It's an accurate description of what actually happened across the entire industry. And critically, this doesn't mean there's no way to tell real from fake anymore. The specific signals that used to work have changed, but new, more reliable ones have taken their place. Signals that don't depend on writing quality at all, and that AI, no matter how sophisticated, genuinely cannot fake, because they exist entirely outside the words on the page. That's exactly what the rest of this video is built to give you. Phishing has evolved. Today, scammers are using advanced AI to create messages that look and feel completely legitimate. Forget the broken English of the past. Modern emails use perfect branding, your name, and even genuine-looking corporate logos. They mention recent transactions or seasonal events, making the context seem incredibly plausible and urgent to the recipient. The tone is indistinguishable from real corporate communication, designed to bypass your natural skepticism through professional language and polish. These emails always have a goal, getting you to click a security alert or update payment button. These are the modern hooks. Traditional defenses looked for typos or bad formatting, but in the age of AI, those obvious signs are rapidly disappearing. We must shift our strategy, stop looking at the surface and start looking at the underlying technical foundations of the message. Use the hover technique. A link that looks like bankservice.com might actually lead to a malicious, slightly different address. Compare these two. On the left, a classic clumsy fake. On the right, a flawless AI generation. Both are equally dangerous. They share the same goal, stealing your sensitive data. The modern version is simply better at slipping past your protective instincts. True safety comes from verification. Always hover, check the URL, and verify the request through your official banking app. Focus on where the link leads, not how the email looks. Stay vigilant and stay secure in the age of AI. Since writing quality no longer reliably separates real from fake, here's what still works, because these signals don't depend on how polished the email looks. First and most reliable, hover over any link before clicking without clicking to see where it actually leads. On most computers, resting your cursor over a link displays the actual destination address, usually at the bottom of the screen. If an email claims to be from your bank, but the link shows an unfamiliar address, that mismatch is definitive proof of fraud, regardless of how perfect the email's writing looked. Second, never click a link in an unexpected email to log into any account. Instead, open a new browser window and type your bank's actual website address yourself, or use an app you've already installed and trust. This single habit makes it essentially impossible for a phishing link, however convincing, to ever capture your credentials. Third, treat any request for immediate action on a financial account as worth independently verifying, regardless of how professional the email appears. Call your bank using the number on your card, separate from anything in the email itself, if you're ever unsure. Fourth, check the sender's actual email address, not just the display name. Scammers can set a display name to read Bank of America security. Most email programs reveal the true address with a single click. Fifth, remember that legitimate companies essentially never ask for sensitive data via email. This remains true even now. It's one of the few defenses AI-generated polish genuinely cannot overcome. It's worth adding one more layer of protection. Search for a short, distinctive phrase from the email in a search engine, in quotation marks. This simple search sometimes surfaces reports or warnings from other recipients who received the identical message and identified it as fraudulent. Finally, build a habit of pausing before forwarding an unusual email and treat uncertainty as useful information. An email insisting on immediate action is applying the kind of manufactured pressure identified as a consistent warning sign across every scam type. The old advice, check the spelling, look for awkward phrasing, served its purpose well for a very long time, and it's not wrong to feel a little unsettled that it no longer reliably applies. Something that used to work stopped working, quickly and quietly, and that's a genuinely disorienting thing to discover. But here's what hasn't changed. The underlying goal of every phishing email remains exactly the same as it's always been. It is getting you to click a link or share information you shouldn't. AI can perfect the writing. It cannot change where a link actually leads, and it cannot make a company suddenly ask for your password over email. That's the real shift. Not learning to read more carefully, but learning to verify differently, using signals outside the words. Once that shift is made, it doesn't matter how perfect the next phishing email looks, because you're no longer evaluating the fake text. You're evaluating the one thing it still can't touch, where the link actually goes, and what a company would actually ask. In our next video, we're going to look at what happens when this technology moves from email into your text messages. Subscribe to stay with us as we keep building this understanding together, one piece at a time.